Hi everyone, this is going to be a video about transitioning to barefoot shoes. When I first got my original pair of barefoot shoes, I had to sign a release saying that I would not sue the place that I bought my shoes at for injury. And I think it's funny that I had to do that, but I totally understand why. And that is because barefoot shoes are so different than the traditional shoe, especially if you have been running in a traditional shoe for so long. If you haven't watched my last video about why barefoot shoes, I recommend going back and watching that video, and it talks a little bit about why people wear barefoot shoes. And this video is going to be about transitioning to barefoot shoes in case you want to start wearing barefoot shoes, which I think it will help a lot of people, especially if you are younger. I think it's best to kind of do it when you're younger and prevent any further injury that you might experience. And to start transitioning, it's just there's a lot of, it's like multifaceted. So I'm going to try to go over how you can best transition and what I did to transition and my experience with that. I'm also going to link some podiatrist accounts that I followed down below in the description box. So if you want to go follow them, I highly recommend it. They have a lot more information than I do. This is more of my experience and thoughts on my transition. So when I first got the shoes, I got them from a running shop, and the original barefoot running shoes that I got were Vibram 5 Fingers, and I loved them. I did so much research to try to understand how to prevent injuries that I had. And they say that barefoot running really helps. So I signed this release saying that I wouldn't sue for injury because it works your calves and it works different muscles and in the feet and in the legs that you might not be working in traditional shoes. So if you run too much in them at once, then you might have some issues where you might have some injury, just because muscle groups that you haven't used before are now being used. So that was the injury release that I had to sign. But then they also gave you kind of like a plan to start using them for running. And the plan was just to start walking in them and maybe you run like a block or less, like very, very, very small amount. And that is because when you put these on, you can pretty much feel anything that is under you. If you step on a rock, you feel it. I swear to you, I've been running in barefoot shoes for a long time. I could walk on millions of Legos and be okay. And that is basically what you feel when you first wear barefoot running shoes. And I know some of you might not be interested in running in barefoot shoes. Maybe you're not interested in running, you just want to wear them just casually. I think this video will still help with that. But when you do get a pair of barefoot shoes, it's best to recognize that you might feel a little bit more under the soles of your feet, whether it's rocks or mulch or whatever it is that you're walking on outside or inside. You might be able to feel it a little bit more than your traditional cushioned shoe. So just start off with like a little bit of walking. If you walk around your house barefoot, you pretty much have got how to walk barefoot down. It's the same feeling and sensation almost, but when you have shoes on, you might be just conditioned to walk a little bit differently with that cushion. So this is just a basic pair of barefoot shoes. It has a wide toe box. That's common in barefoot shoes. That's pretty much what barefoot shoes are. They just have a wide toe box and they have like a zero drop sole, and they're usually really flexible like this. So when you start to transition, just wear them a little bit. Don't like overdo it and hurt yourself, because you will be using your different muscles a little bit more. I remember I felt it mostly in my calves, and also this little arch that is right by your ankle. I would feel it there when I first transitioned, and oh my word, that is where it hurt the most. Just like the top of your foot by your ankle, right there, I felt it. And that's what made me know that I needed to go really slow with transitioning into barefoot shoes. I don't think it matters about what size you are or your foot shape. Overall, the barefoot shoes help your toes to splay, and it engages more muscles in your toes and your feet and in your calves. So I don't think other conditions matter, like what size you are, what age you are. It might, some of those things might mean you go maybe a little bit slower, and you have to understand, like, oh yeah, I definitely feel it, maybe cut back a little bit and just go slow with transitioning into barefoot shoes. Like, definitely not more than a block, especially just when you're going out, because you're going to feel it. And also, as you're running, you might, if you put on barefoot shoes today and you've never worn them before, you might be tempted to run fast, like on your toes, which it might change your gait a little bit and your stride a little bit if you run with these shoes over time. But just go really slow if you're running, and if you're walking just casually, you still might be tempted to walk more on your toes because you feel what's under your feet, and it's a little bit more of a different sensation than walking with shoes with support in them. So if you take it slow, a couple of exercises to do is calf raises. Those will help you a lot, as well as just stretching your foot and maybe even doing some massage work with your toes and your feet. There's some accounts that give some really good exercises to do with your toes. Just even like if you're walking around picking something up with your foot. I know that sounds like silly, but that can help you kind of adjust to using your feet and the muscles, and just getting your toes to splay a little bit more. Any of those type of exercises will help you tremendously with starting out with barefoot shoes. So if you are walking, just gradually do it, almost like if you are training for a 5K or a marathon of some sort. Just do very, very small incremental adjustments. And if you want to go for a run, or if you want to go for a walk in them, wear them, but then bring your old shoes, so that way you don't have any injury in your calf or feet, and just gradually increase the amount of time that you wear these barefoot shoes. And over time, you might see your foot shape change a little bit, to where your toes aren't so cramped together and like on top of each other, or maybe you have an issue with bunions. All of those things can come from traditional shoe usage. There's another product that is out there. The brand is called Correct Toes, and it's basically just a toe spacer that you could use around your house, and it helps your toes to splay a little bit more. So that might be something that you might be interested in if you want to transition to barefoot shoes as casual wear, or as a runner, or if you want to wear barefoot shoes in some type of athletics or weightlifting, which there's some interesting studies that people have done about weightlifting and how your toes need to splay for weightlifting, and how traditional shoes don't do that. So if you're into any of those things, that you definitely want to check out barefoot shoes. And I also wanted to mention age. If you are younger, your feet might be able to adjust a little bit easier. If you're older, you might have a little bit more, there might be a few more issues with your feet, but overall, if you practice some exercises where you are using your toes, walking around, doing calf raises, you can still adjust to the barefoot shoes fairly easily, but it just might take a little bit more time. And I recommend this product called Correct Toes. I don't use it. My feet actually splay really well, and I feel like my feet have always, or ever since wearing barefoot shoes, I've been able to correct my toes to where they're more of a natural splay, and I don't have bunions or any type of curling going on with my toes. So I recommend barefoot shoes if you're in any of these categories, if you want to prevent any damage as you get older. If you're younger and you want to consider maybe some people you know that are older that might have some issues with their legs and their feet, possibly making that adjustment now will help you as you get older. So I hope you guys enjoyed this short video on transitioning. Like I said, I'm going to put some podiatrist accounts down below that have so much information, and it's really just a wealth of information. This is just like my personal testimony on transitioning to barefoot shoes, and I hope this helps you. And go check out those accounts below, because if you're interested in more, they definitely have more than I do. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye!